that ain't good. What's going on, guys? Three Wheels in the Block back again. Got a 2003 Pontiac Bonneville right here. It's got a broken window regulator. This window is stuck. So for this repair, you'll need a new window regulator. Something like this. You need a plastic pry or a trim tool. This is to remove the door panel off the vehicle. And you'll need a 10mm socket, preferably a deep well. Might even use an extension. That'll make things a little bit easier for you. I'll be using an impact on the end of this. 10mm socket, extension, and an impact if you like it. Otherwise, you can use the regular ratchet. That'll work just fine. Let's go ahead and get the door panel off. Start at the bottom. Let's give it a little jiggle. Once you get the bottom loose, and work your way up. Like so. All the way up the sides. Oh man, this sucker's on here. Oh. Thing's requiring some muscle. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think this panel's been off yet. There we go. I could use Rob Banks right now to come pull the door panel off for me. There's one more clip up here on the back side. You want to get that one loose. Once you got it loose and the door panel is moving around like so, you're going to lift up and get this upper piece off, like so. You got everything loose. There are two clips in the center of the door. You'll have to rock this thing back and forth to get those loose. They are very stubborn to get off. Like I said, very stubborn. And that's these two center clips right here where these metal pieces are at. There's a little clip that goes here. It fell out on the floor. Another one over here. Put those clips back in. You squeeze these with some pliers and pull these out. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Go ahead and unplug your window switch from the control module. And that may be different on your model. This Pontiac Bonneville was loaded, so it's got automatic windows and a control module to lock out the rear windows. So you may or may not have this on your model, but go ahead and unhook your door panel from the door and set it aside. Alright, once you've done that, you're going to take your 10mm and loosen up the two bolts on the control module. You'll see one there and one there. Put your bolts where you won't lose them. Take this loose. And you don't have to unplug this. You just want that out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is remove this plastic dust shield from the door. My recommendation is you don't remove the whole thing. Just pull it down out of your way. If you do that, then it's easy to reattach it and you won't get it dirty on the floor. Alright. Now I'm going to go turn the power back on and show you that this window regulator is not moving up and down. This should move with the window switch. As you can see, it's not moving at all. In fact, the only time the window moves is when I manually move it. So what has happened in this case is that the cable has snapped on the regulator. So the next thing you're going to want to do is move this regulator all the way up to the top. If you can find you a couple rubber door stops, these work great for holding the window in place if you don't have somebody else there working with you. Very handy. So we'll slide this up. And you want to make sure that your window regulator is all the way up at the switch. Otherwise you might not be able to get this all the way up. You get it up and you're going to stick these down in the window jamb, like so. That'll hold your window in place while you remove everything else. Alright, there are 2 screws down in the door you're going to want to remove, or 2 bolts. They're 10 millimeters. There's one hiding behind that cable. When you have the regulator all the way up, you'll be able to get right to that one. And the same thing on this one over here. You see it's down and it's hiding because the window is not all the way in the upward position. So you want to make sure you get the window all the way up. With the window all the way up, now you can see that bolt and you can see that bolt right there. So we're going to take our 10 millimeter deep well socket and insert it right in that hole and that hole. And you're going to back those screws up to get the jam clips on the window loose. Basically it's a V that squeezes in and holds the window in place. So as you loosen up the screws, it'll start to do that and you can get the glass out. I was not able to get my socket in there to that bolt, so on this side only you can drop it down and you can access it through this side. So if you can't get it through the top with the other one, just drop it down and back it up here. You know how to take them all the way out, and it should come loose just like that. And then your glass can move up and down without the window regulator, and that's what you want. Okay, we're going to loosen up the other side. Your regulator will just slide up and down. Leave your door stops in place. That'll hold your glass for you, like so. Alright, next up, 3 bolts that hold the regulator in. One here, one down there. It's also a good idea if you have a piece of foam that's in your door, like this one, go ahead and remove that piece of foam. It'll make it a lot easier to get your regulator out. Let's go ahead and loosen up the bolts now we have that out of the way. Should look like that. You'll press your window regulator towards the door at the bottom first. Swing it around, get your top portion out. Then you can access the plug down here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this clip for the power. Take you a small screwdriver, depress the front of the clip like so, and pull back on the plug assembly. It should come right up out of there. There we go. Alright, what I do is flip the regulator completely over and take the motor portion towards the back, down all the way to the bottom of the door. Slide your regulator assembly out first, followed by the motor assembly, like so. Alright, here she is. And if we look over here on this side, we'll see where the failure is. So the cable's good at the top. Come back down around the bottom. The cable is still attached on here. So our failure is down inside the cable assembly. It's come off the wheel. That's where the failure is. You can see the cable bound up around the side there. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to do is compare your 2 assemblies. This is the one I removed. And then this is the new one. As you can see, there's no motor. It's pretty short order one with the motor. That's alright. So if you just got the assembly only, I'll show you how to do that. If you have a motor on your assembly, you can skip this next step. There's a regulator, another regulator. They look pretty similar. So what we'll need to do in this case is we're going to remove this motor and put it on this regulator. So you don't get anything twisted around, flip them over both the same way. That wonderful 10mm socket you've been using on everything else, because it'll be the same size for these. Back them off. Like so. You have 3 bolts. Take your motor, remove it from the assembly. It's a good idea to go ahead and inspect your gear while you have it apart. This one looks good. You take your old assembly, throw it in the nearest garbage can, or as Scott says, in the pile. Now you take your motor, remembering the way that it was on your previous assembly, line it up accordingly. Once you got it lined up, take your screws, you'll place them in the assembly like so. Now this particular regulator does not have threads inside, so they have provided locking nuts which go on the back side. We'll go ahead and install those. One. Alright, now we're ready to put it back in the car. Alright, assembly is basically the reverse of removal. Before I forget, before we put this thing in, it's a good idea to go ahead and loosen these up. That way when you get your window motor in, or your window ready to put it back in, they'll be ready to go. Plus sometimes these rubber pads stick when they've been stored for a while. It may take a little bit of effort to get them apart. Make sure you got them nice and loose. Now that the window regulator is locked in position with these 3 bolts right here, we're going to go ahead and remove our 2 door stops that are holding our glass up. And we'll guide the glass down into the 2 cups. They're shaped like that. The glass is going to slide right in there. Check to make sure your glass is sitting all the way down on the bottom. For this next portion, you're going to use your 10mm. Do not use an impact, because if you over tighten these, you'll break the glass. So very easily, just snug them up on there. We'll have to move the window back up to get into this hole. Alright, with the window at the utmost position, you should be able to get in right in here, just like so. Tighten up the right side of the window clamp. Once you've gotten it snugged up, move your window up and down. Now that that's in place, we'll test our window. Alright, so the window goes up and down smoothly. That's what we were after. Let's go ahead and clean everything up and put the door back together. Alright, before we reinstall the door panel, I'm going to show you here, these are the clips that came out in the door panel. You'll take your needle nose pliers up in here, squeeze the clip, and then you can remove it from the top. Just like so. We'll do that on both clips. Alright. And then these 2 clips are going to go back in the door. Clips go here and here respectively, and they slide down that way. Now you're supposed to be able to slide the door off with these on there. I've not successfully been able to do that, so you usually pop off and you clip them back on this way, and then when you swing the door panel back down, they'll clip right into the door. We'll plug our speaker and door switch back in. First get your door handle back in place, then work your top in. After you get your top worked in, you can go around and start tapping your clips in. He's done. So that's the installation for a window regulator. This was the driver's side rear door of a 2003 Pontiac Bonneville SSEI. Hope you found this video helpful. Thank you guys for watching. My name's Erwin. This has been 3 Wheels in a Block, and we will see you soon. Be sure to check out more videos on the Pontiac Bonneville. I'll put a link up above, as there will be more to come.